Fair Use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. August 16th. I had dropped out. We might next ask ourselves what we mean when we say that we have harmed other people. What kinds of harm do people do one another anyway? To define the word harm in a practical way, we might call it the result of instincts in collision, which cause physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual damage to people. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 80. I had been to 8th step meetings, always thinking, I really haven't harmed many people, mostly myself. But the time came when I wrote my list out, and it was not as short as I thought it would be. I either liked you, disliked you, or needed something from you. It was that simple. People hadn't done what I wanted them to do, and intimate relationships were out of hand because of my partner's unreasonable demands. Were these sins of omission? Because of my drinking? I had dropped out, never sending cards, returning calls, being there for other people, or taking part in their lives. What a grace it has been to look at these relationships, to make my inventories in quiet, alone with the God of my understanding, and to go forth daily with a willingness to be honest and forthright in my relationships. Courage to Change One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, August 16th. During stressful periods, it can be tempting to skip a meal, push ourselves until we are totally exhausted, and generally ignore our basic needs. In the midst of crisis, taking time out for an Al-Anon meeting, a call to a sponsor, or a breath of fresh air may seem like a waste of all too precious moments. There don't seem to be enough hours in a day, and something has to go. But are we choosing wisely? At the very time we most need to take good care of ourselves, we are likely to do the opposite. If we decide that our needs are unimportant or that we're too busy, we sabotage our own best interests. In times of crisis, we need to be at our best. By making an extra effort to get nutritious food, sleep, Al-Anon support, relaxation, and quiet time with our higher power, we strengthen ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This can make a difficult situation a little easier. Today's reminder: I am the only one who can make my well-being my top priority. I owe it to myself to pay attention to the needs of my body, mind, and spirit. There is a quote from In All Our Affairs, and it reads, "Putting first things first in troubled times often means finding whatever way I can to set aside my burdens, even if just for a moment, to make time for myself." Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, August 16th. Up or down. This is our road to spiritual growth. We change every day. This growth is not the result of wishing, but of action and prayer. Basic text, page 37. Our spiritual condition is never static. If it's not growing, it's decaying. If we stand still, our spiritual progress will lose its upward momentum. Gradually, our growth will slow, then halt, then reverse itself. Our tolerance will wear thin. Our willingness to serve others will wane. Our minds will narrow and close. Before long, we'll be right back where we started, in conflict with everyone and everything around us, unable to bear even ourselves. Our only option is to actively participate in our program of spiritual growth. We pray, seeking knowledge greater than our own from a power greater than ourselves. We open our minds and keep them open, becoming teachable and taking advantage of what others have to share with us. We demonstrate our willingness to try new ideas and new ways of doing things, experiencing life in a whole new way. Our spiritual progress picks up speed and momentum. Driven by the higher power, we are coming to understand better each day. Up or down, it's one or the other, with very little in between. Where spiritual growth is concerned, recovery is not fueled by wishing and dreaming, we've discovered, but by prayer and action. Just for today, the only constant in my spiritual condition is change. I cannot rely on yesterday's program. Today I seek new spiritual growth through prayer and action. Today, Emotions Anonymous, August 16th. Reflection for today. As on the highways, there are directional signs in my life which warn me of possible mishaps, signs such as halt, which remind me never to get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. My behavior can be and often is affected by any of those four feelings. If I am careful of my habits and try to be reasonable and balanced with my life, I can avoid much pain. My body tells me when it is tired or hungry. I must watch for my body's red light which says, stop. It is time to rest or eat. My mind tells me when I am angry and lonely. I must watch for my mind's amber light which says, slow down. Paying attention to my own signals is as important as following highway signs. Meditation for today. Help me to see all the signs in my life. Today I will remember. I will watch for my red, amber, and green lights. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. August 16th. Service and healing. The healing we receive by giving service in ACA removes our deep feelings of inferiority in giving and receiving love. Our sense of inadequacy begins to disappear when we see the value of the service we give. BRB, page 363. In a myriad of ways, most of us were taught that we were inferior. Our perceptions were challenged. Our feelings were denied. Our thoughts were overpowered by the dysfunction in our families. As we come to and in ACA, we realize that our perceptions, feelings, and thoughts are being respected because they are true for us. Through regular attendance at meetings, we slowly develop the knowledge that we are not inferior and begin sharing and working the steps with a fellow traveler. At some point, we notice that others chip in to make this miracle possible by doing service to keep the meeting strong. This is where part of the magic of recovery happens. In one instant, we are lost, and in the next, we become able to help by doing service work ourselves for the group. Seeing new members attend their first meetings and then seeing them as they begin to come to brings us joy and makes any level of service we can give an act of love that reflects our love of our true selves. The affirmation reads, on this day I will